Alright, last video of the year. Today we're looking at the best players in 2022 from 19 baseball leagues around the world. Most of these players were MVPs of their respective leagues. Some were not. The best players don't always get chosen for the MVP, you know that. Here I've tried to select the very best players. Some leagues are split into two divisions and they award two MVPs. I'll mostly be picking the best overall, except in one case where I just couldn't decide. For the most part I go with the highest level of baseball competition in the countries I normally cover on this channel. Exceptions are Mexico and Cuba. Both countries had two leagues on a similar level, playing at different times of the year, using a lot of the same players. For the winter leagues, I'll go with the top players from the 2022 to 23 season, the one going on right now. Most of those leagues have just finished for the regular season. A few of them, however, will keep playing into the new year. Those are the leagues of Puerto Rico, Colombia, and Australia. So my picks for the top players in those leagues is not my pick for the season MVP, but rather the best player when the 2022 calendar expires. Someone could take over as the league's best in the remaining games after the new year. There are a lot more than 19 leagues in the world, but it would take too much time to try and compile a list of all the world's top players, so I'll stick with the ones I usually talk about here. If you know of any more, please mention them in the comments. Give their name, position, stats, little background on the player. Doesn't even have to be the highest level of baseball in a particular country. If any player was the best in any league, amateur or professional, they deserve to be mentioned here. I'll start with the lesser known leagues and work my way up to the top. I said lesser known, so of course that means I'm starting in Europe. In Czech Baseball Extraliga, Eagles Praha catcher Martin Cervenka dominated the league offensively. In 43 games he made 197 plate appearances and was 64 out of 151 at-bats for a .424 average that won him the batting title. On-base percentage .548, slugging .821, OPS .1369. He led the league with 15 home runs. The next guy on the list only had 10. A league-leading 49 RBI, 15 doubles, 38 walks, 15 stolen bases, third best in Extraliga, and was only caught stealing 3 times. Cervenka played in the Major League system from 2011 to 2021. In 2019, he reached AAA Norfolk in the Baltimore Orioles organization, where he put up pretty good offensive numbers. It seemed like he was going to get called up sooner or later. Then came the canceled minor league season in 2020. In 2021, he once again played at the AAA level with the Mets of Syracuse, but he struggled toward the end of the season and was not brought back. He also played in Lidom for Toros del Este in the 2021-22 season. In Germany's Baseball Bundesliga, there were 2 MVPs awarded, one for the North and one for the South, one position player and one pitcher, both American. I can't decide which one was better, so I'll mention both here. The North MVP was Eric Brink, an infielder for the 2022 champions Bonn Capitals. He led the league in batting, .424, on-base percentage, .465, and tied for first in doubles with 9. Second in slugging, .626, and OPS, .1091. Tied for third in home runs with 3. Fourth in stolen bases with 12, only caught stealing twice. He was born and raised in the U.S. by his German mother. He was a member of the 2017 and 2023 WBC qualifier teams for Germany. South MVP was pitcher Caleb Bowman of Regensburg. He made 11 starts, 66 2/3 innings for an average of 6 innings per start. In those 66 innings, he struck out 105 batters. ERA was 0.81, win-loss record of 8-1. He led the league in all 3 of those categories for a pitcher's triple crown. It wasn't his first year dominating the Bundesliga. In 2021, he was the league's pitcher of the year, but he won't be back next year. After last season, he signed with the Milwaukee Brewers. The Italian Baseball League's best player in 2022 was Murilo Brolo Gouveia, a 34-year-old Brazilian pitcher who played for Unipolsai Fortitudo Bologna. His numbers for the whole season: 20 games, 13 starts, 7 relief appearances, 76 2/3 innings, and only 7 earned runs allowed, for a league-leading ERA of 0.82. A perfect record of 11-0, topping the league in wins. Not a big strikeout guy, though. His 108 strikeouts didn't even crack the top 10, but he only walked 13 batters. Of course, it's easy for a good pitcher to dominate the first phase in the IBL when over 30 teams are playing and the league is dominated by a handful of teams. What's impressive is that Gouveia was actually better in the second phase when it was narrowed down to the best 8 teams. In that round, he threw 39 2/3 innings in 7 starts and 4 relief appearances, only allowed 2 runs for an ERA of 0.45, a record of 6-0, 46 strikeouts, and only 8 walks. Gouveia played in the Major League system from 2007 to 2015 as a White Sox and Astros prospect. He reached the AAA level in 2015. In 2017, he played independent ball in Quebec, and since 2018 has been playing with Bologna in the IBL. He's also bounced around the winter leagues, 2018 to 19 season in Mexico, 2019 to 2020 season in Venezuela, and 2021 to 22 in Nicaragua. In the honkbal hoofd class of the Netherlands, the MVP award for the second year in a row went to 28-year-old outfielder Denzel Richardson, a native of Sint Maarten, now playing in Amsterdam. He played in 39 games, made 178 plate appearances, 49 hits, and 158 at-bats for a .310 average. On-base percentage .379, slugging .582, coming from his 13 doubles, 3 triples, and league-leading 8 home runs. OPS was .961. Not a big base stealer, but he did manage to swipe 5 without ever being caught. Those numbers are mostly down from his 2021 MVP campaign, when he slashed .447, .521, .673. The big improvement was in home runs. He hit 8 this year after only hitting 4 last year. From 2012 to 2015, Richardson was a Colorado Rockies prospect. In 2016, he played independent ball in Joliet and Evansville. He first played in the hoofd class in 2018 with DSS Kinheim, and since 2019 has been with the Amsterdam Pirates. He is currently playing winter ball with Leones de Leon in Nicaragua. Now we head to the Caribbean. First up, the Cuban National Series. Plenty of heavy hitters there, but I've got to go with the pitcher. 27-year-old right-hander Hermes Gonzalez of Cienfuegos. He made 15 starts and led the league with 105 1/3 innings thrown, tied for the league lead with 10 wins, second in the league with a .291 ERA. The ERA leader tossed 30 fewer innings than Gonzalez did. Clearly the best pitcher, and there wasn't a single dominant hitter. That was Gonzalez's 7th season in the Cuban National Series, all with Cienfuegos, but his first really good year. There were 2 leagues in Cuba this year. The Cuban Elite League was played for the first time this year, comprised of only 6 teams, using the best players from the 16-team Cuban National Series. This league has just finished its regular season. The best player overall was 29-year-old left-handed pitcher Dario Gongora of Centrales. He was the winning pitcher in 6 of the 10 games he started for a record of 6-2, totaled 62 1/3 innings, so over 6 innings per start. ERA .217 with 37 strikeouts. First in ERA, tied for first in strikeouts, tied for second in wins, and third in innings thrown. The one pitcher with more wins was a relief pitcher. The 2 pitchers that finished ahead of him in innings both had one more start than he had. Gongora has been pitching in the Cuban National Series since 2011. In 2022, with league runner-up Cocodrilos de Matanzas, he was 8-5 with a .298 ERA in 90 innings. In the Dominican Republic, Ronnie Mauricio, an infielder for Tigres del Licey, was the best in Lidom in 2022. In 46 games, he had 54 hits and 188 at-bats for a .287 average. That doesn't sound so good, but it was the league's 3rd best batting average. Only one player batted over 300. On-base percentage .365, slugging .468 for an OPS of .803. 5 home runs was good for second in Lidom, 2 behind the league leader. 15 doubles, 2 triples, 11 out of 14 in stolen base attempts. That put him in a tie for second in steals. The one category that he did lead the league in was RBI with 35. Mauricio is a 21-year-old Mets prospect who mostly plays shortstop. Over the summer in AA, he batted .259 with 26 home runs and 20 steals in 123 games. In the LBPN of Nicaragua, Manuel Geraldo of Indios del Bor is the league leader in batting, .347, slugging, .612, OPS, .1029, home runs, 7, RBI, 31, and total bases, 74. On-base percentage was one of the best at .417, and he was tied for second with 8 steals. That all came in 31 games, 42 hits, and 121 at-bats. Geraldo is a 26-year-old switch hitter who plays second, third, and short. In 2021, he reached the AA level in the Washington Nationals organization. 2022 was spent playing independent ball at Lexington. In the LPB of Colombia, the best choice is 24-year-old outfielder Jesus Mariaga of Tigres de Cartagena. As of Wednesday's game, which was 33 games into the season, Mariaga was 43 out of 114 at the plate, topping the league with a .377 batting average and a .503 on-base percentage. He reaches base in half of his plate appearances. His .605 slugging ranks 3rd. Only hit 2 home runs, but he's the league leader in triples with 4, and second in doubles with 12. Mariaga was a Diamondbacks prospect, played in low single A in 2019 where he had a .374 on-base percentage. This is his 3rd year in the LPB, and he's played independent ball the last 2 summers in Gary. In both leagues he's been getting better every year. Last summer in Gary he hit .307, .379, .454, with 21 steals in 71 games. One winter league not in the Caribbean, in fact it's summer over there, is the Australian Baseball League, returning this year after a cancelled season the year before. Still plenty of baseball to be played there in January, but as of now, the best player is Brisbane Bandits second baseman TJ Bennett. In the first 24 games, 100 at-bats, he's got 31 hits, good for a .310 average, on-base .361, slugging a league-best .720, fueled mostly by his 13 home runs, averaging more than one homer in every 2 games. That's easily the most in the ABL, second most is 7. Bennett's also the RBI leader with 28, and total bases with 72. He's a big reason why the Bandits have the best record in the ABL right now. Bennett, a 30-year-old Canadian, previously played at AAA Sacramento in the San Francisco Giants organization. In the summer of 2022, he played independent ball at Lake Country, where he batted .275 with 17 home runs. The league with the latest start to their season was ProBase in Panama. They just got started a week into December. Ariel Sandoval of first-place Federales de Chiriquí is the batting leader with a .385 average, first in RBI with 9, second in home runs with 2. He has to be considered the best right now. Haven't seen enough from the pitchers yet, and Sandoval is the best hitter. A 27-year-old outfielder, Sandoval previously reached high single-A in the Dodgers and Mariners organizations. In 2022, with 2 different independent league teams, he played in 66 games, stealing 22 bases and batting .313. Hard to decide in Venezuela. No single dominant hitter or pitcher in the LVBP this year. I've gone with 27-year-old catcher Freddy Fermin of Leones del Caracas. He played in 45 games, 67 out of 166 at the plate. Line was .404, .482, .566, for an OPS of 1048. He won the batting title by a comfortable margin, second in on-base percentage, 1/1000th of a point behind the on-base leader. But Fermin had a lot better power numbers than the on-base leader. He was third in slugging at .566, second in OPS behind his teammate Oswaldo Arcia. But I'd say Fermin is the MVP here because he's a catcher putting up those numbers. Arcia plays the outfield. Fermin made his major league debut in 2022, appearing in 3 games for the Kansas City Royals. At AAA Omaha, he hit .270, .365, .480, with 15 home runs in 87 games. In Puerto Rico, it was a pitcher's season in the LBPRC, and there are a lot of good pitchers to choose from here. I'll go with the ERA leader, 24-year-old right-hander Ruben Ramirez of RA12. 8 starts, 44 2/3 innings, and only 4 earned runs surrendered, for an ERA of 0.81. Second best ERA was 166, more than double that of Ramirez. He ranks 5th in innings pitched and top 10 in strikeouts with 32. What will make anyone reluctant to call him the best is that those 8 great starts have only led to 1 win. His record right now is 1-0, but that can be attributed to poor run support. RA12 is the lowest scoring team in the league. Though he's a starting pitcher in the LBPRC, he's used as a reliever in the Kansas City Royals system, where he's been playing the last 2 years. In 2022, in high single-A, he appeared in 15 games, through 27 2/3 innings, with an ERA of 4.23. The Mexican Pacific League has just ended its regular season, and one of the biggest stories of the season was the turnaround of Cañeros de los Mochis. After finishing last in each of the previous 2 seasons, they grabbed the number 2 seed for the playoffs. One big reason for that turnaround was the pitching of Luis Miranda. In 12 starts and 67 innings, the 28-year-old right-hander gave up only 8 earned runs for a league-leading ERA of 107. WHIP 0.87 also led the league. 5 wins and only 1 loss. His dominance on the mound was totally unexpected. Miranda left the Major League system in 2015, never getting past single-A in the Braves system. He's been pitching in Mexico both summer and winter ever since. Last winter in the LMP, he had an ERA over 5. Last summer in the LMB, his ERA was over 9. His performance this season is the biggest surprise of any player I'm mentioning here. And remember, there are 2 leagues in Mexico. In the summer, it's the LMB. The MVP for the 2022 season was Toros de Tijuana DH Felix Perez, but he wasn't the best hitter. That was Rainel Rosario, an outfielder for Seraperos de Saltillo. In 90 games, he made 401 plate appearances, had 127 hits and 341 at-bats, for a .372 average, on-base percentage .456. Slugging .792 to lead all LMB hitters. He tied for the league lead with 38 home runs, led the league with 116 RBI, top 10 in the league in doubles 25, and walks 53. Rosario started his career as a St. Louis Cardinals prospect in 2006, getting as high as Double-A. In 2014 and 2015 he played for the Hiroshima Carp of NPB. In 2016 he returned to the Major League system, reaching Triple-A for the Red Sox. Since 2017 he's played in the Mexican League. After the 2022 LMB season, he played in the last 35 games of the CPBL season for the Uni Lions, but underperformed there. He's played winter ball in Lidom, LMP, and this winter in Venezuela, where he is one of the league's best hitters. In Taiwan CPBL, the best was Rakuten Monkeys infielder Li Lin. Lin played in 109 games, made 474 plate appearances, 140 hits, and 418 at-bats, for a league-leading .335 average. Tied for the league lead in home runs with 14, and topped the league with 83 RBI to earn the Triple Crown. Also first in slugging at .517, first in doubles with 30. On-base percentage was the league's fourth best at .391, fourth in stolen bases as well with 22. Lin will turn 27 on New Year's Day. He was primarily used at second base last year, also played the outfield sometimes. In past years he was the third baseman. He's been in the CPBL since 2017, all 6 years with the Monkeys. He's been one of the league's best hitters every year since 2019, but this was his first time winning the MVP. Over in Korea, the KBO's best was Kiwoom Heroes outfielder Jung-Hoo Lee. The 24-year-old left-handed hitter played in 142 games, only missed 2. 627 plate appearances, 193 hits, and 553 at-bats, for a .349 average and .421 on-base percentage, leading the league in both categories. Led the league in slugging, too, at .575, so he got the slash line Triple Crown. OPS topped the league at .996, league leader in triples with 10, number 1 in RBI with 113, 23 home runs, good for 5th, 36 doubles, 4th most in the KBO. Not a big base stealer, but he did steal 5 without getting caught. Lee joined the Heroes in 2017 at the age of 18, and 2022 was his 6th season with the team. His average on-base percentage and steals were down from 2021, though his power numbers were up. Lee will be back with the Heroes in 2023. After that, he plans to make the jump over to MLB. In Japan, for the best player in NPB, I usually name a Pacific League pitcher. Last year I went with Oryx Buffalo's pitcher Yoshinobu Yamamoto. He was once again the best pitcher in NPB, Pacific League MVP for the 2nd year in a row, 2nd consecutive Pitcher's Triple Crown, and won his first Japan Series title. But all attention in NPB this year was on a hitter from Central League. Tokyo Yakult Swallows third baseman Munetaka Murakami, only 22 years old, hit 56 home runs, the 2nd highest total in NPB history, 4 short of the record. And it wasn't a case of the ball being juiced either. The next highest home run total in Central League was 30, so Murakami almost doubled the home run total of the guy with the 2nd most home runs. He won the batting title with a .318 average. That's 155 hits in 487 at-bats in 141 games. 134 RBI, next guy on the list only had 87. That made Murakami the youngest player in league history to win the Triple Crown. Easily led the league in walks with 118. On-base percentage was a league-leading .458. Second best was just .376. First in slugging, .710, and OPS, .1168. Simply dominated the league. That was season number 5 for the 22-year-old third baseman. He's been one of Central League's best hitters the last 3 seasons. He recently signed a contract extension with the Swallows till the end of the 2025 season, at which point he'll probably head over to MLB. Speaking of MLB, that's where we'll end it. As always, one MVP for each league was awarded. In the National League, it went to St. Louis Cardinals first baseman Paul Goldschmidt, and he did have a great season. But in the American League, 2 players had historically dominant seasons. One was LA Angels two-way star Shohei Ohtani, the 2021 MVP. As a pitcher, he made 28 starts, 166 innings, won 15 games, ERA .233 with 219 strikeouts, top 5 in ERA, wins, and strikeouts. As a DH, he batted in 157 games, made 666 plate appearances with a .273 average, 34 home runs, 30 doubles, on-base percentage .356, slugging .519, top 5 in home runs, slugging, and OPS. But the AL MVP went to New York Yankees outfielder Aaron Judge. With 62 home runs, he broke the American League home run record, and many will say the real Major League home run record. League leader in RBI with 131, and walks with 111. His line was .311, .425, .686 for an .1111 OPS, first in the AL in on-base percentage, slugging, and OPS. Just missed the batting title, which would have given him the traditional Triple Crown, and all the slash line categories. A lot of debate over the AL MVP between Ohtani and Judge, but in the end Judge was chosen, and it wasn't close. And that's it. If you know of any more, mention them in the comments. Anyway, that's all for this one, and until next year, this is Baseball International. See ya.